So the Saiyans and Granola have ceased their fighting, but the latter now lashes out on Minato for letting him work for the people who killed his mother. The Namekian swears he only did so for the two of them to survive, which Granola still cannot stomach, leaving Vegeta the one to change the subject by asking if Bardock defeated Gas. Minato confirms this to be true, puzzling the prince at how someone could lose to a low-class warrior. However, he clarifies that the Heater was quite powerful. Just then, Serial Sky turns dark before reverting to daylight a second later, and now both Saiyans are losing their marbles at a giant key signature heading right for them. When the gang turn their heads around, they see Maki and Doyle towering on a hill, so Goku and Granola immediately berate the Heeters for their manipulation. Now with the guys lifted, Maki states that the last thing on the bucket list is to eliminate the squad and begin to announce the true strongest of Universe 7. Say what you want about Gas as a villain, but you can't deny how exquisite he looks in that outfit now that he's grown up. Granola was so taken aback by Gas's stunning attire that he started questioning if the man on the rock was actually him. Without a response, the Heater flicks his finger, shooting a laser beam at the squad, which tears the Cerulean ship in half, and summons a pitchfork to lob right at Granola, pinning him down on the vehicle. Gas expresses his hatred for the Cerulean, thrilled that he can finally kill him, and yes, this hatred had been brewing up for decades. Look how Gas was clenching his fist at Granola for simply completing his assignment. Goku then goes to assist but gets caught in cubes by the Heater, who realizes that he must be the son of Bardock thanks to the distinct hair, and queries if his father still lives, to which Vegeta informs of the true reason for Planet Vegeta's destruction. With this info, the Heater conjures up a battle axe to finish off Frieza's work with a swift execution, but gets shot in the spine by none other than Granola, who claims the title of strongest for himself. Gas took that personally, diverting all his attention to the Cerulean with a smack from his mace, before sprinkling a bit of finesse with continuous jabs and an elegant twirl to put down Granola. Meanwhile, Minato helps Goku remove the cubes off his limbs and also offers to restore the Saiyan's HP with only one request: to save Granola for him, which Goku is totally on board with. Back to the fight, the Cerulean demands to know why the Heeters let him live, so Gas explains they had no clue about the pair's survival until much after the purge, where Elec thought it'd be better to hire Granola instead as his own version of Boba Fett in his arsenal. During the flashback, Minato kept the truth of that cursed day secret to avoid Granola getting killed on a revenge tour, which spared their lives anyway because Elec would have murdered them both if Minato chose to blabber. Upon reflection, the Namekian realizes he should have just died rather than serve Elec, and even thinks of himself as a failure to his race as he can't top Goku's health to full. The Saiyan assures he picked the right decision to live before telling Vegeta to go get the second sensu they brought. However, the prince mentions it was in the armor he tossed away, so Goku instructs him to munch on the bean the minute he finds it, meaning each Saiyan will have eaten one between them. Vegeta tells Goku to not die, nodding back to their previous conversation, and the latter says they'll beat Gas once the prince becomes freaky ego again before blasting off to the battlefield.
You're a donut! You're so stupid!
Goku subs in for a battered Granola, surprising the Heater with the unlikely friendship between endangered species, which is such a vile thing to say before targeting right for the Saiyan's heart. He instantly grips the weapon as a Super Saiyan Blue, shattering it into pieces, and gets to cooking with a sudden right kick. Gas turns off the stove by parrying the Saiyan's attack, but with his right side exposed, Goku fires a ki wave, creating a cinematic explosion. The Heater uses the smoke created to wind up the most devious whack of mankind like he's Amy, and you can tell this man's inspired by Jiro because he materializes a headphone jack, stunning Goku to the spot for Gas to launch him in the dirt. Anywho, Vegeta eventually finds his armor housing the sensu bean, but instead of eating it himself, he offers it to Granola, insisting that the Cerulean's revenge against his mother's killers must be satisfied solely with his own strength. Granola chows down on the bean, marveling at its status effects, and while that's happening, returning, Maki demands Minato to spill the location of Vegeta, who the Namekian refuses to snitch on, but as the Heeters prepare to exercise brute force, Granola slides in for his old man by force pushing them both into the rubble, which catches Gas's attention. Minato then hands Oatmeal back, who promises to make Granola a victim of the AI takeover if it's ever chucked again, so he quickly apologizes, affirming he always won Oatmeal's support before powering up to 100% with both red eyes, which leaves Vegeta utterly proud. The Heater swats Goku to the side to prepare for the upcoming battle with two crafted shields, signaling for Gas vs Granola to finally commence. It starts with the Cerulean ducking under his right swing, lock and loaded with the finger guns. However, Gas blocks the spray with his left shield, which ends up repelling the Heater all the way into the sky. Preferring close range, Gas dives for his nemesis like a hawk, so Granola times the roll perfectly, which has the Heater looking goofy with his unhappy landing. This didn't stop him from crafting a spear to skewer the enemy, who seizes the weapon, successfully disarming the opponent, and now chases after the Heater with such resolve that not even kunai were able to slow him down. That's when Gas calls forth the Miley Cyrus special, which Granola anticipates thanks to Oatmeal, but the Cerulean fell for the trap because a mere tug of the chain detonates the whole wrecking ball. As Granola's about to skedaddle out there, the AI warns him to stay put since a whopping 46 kunai have got them both on lockdown. Gas launches them all at once, assuming he caught the Cerulean lacking. However, when Granola emerges from the dust, he has the kunai in his palms, dropping them all on the floor. I haven't seen Naruto, so I'm hoping the kunai will give him proper justice compared to how useless they're being in this fight. Anyway, Gas now equips the Adamantium Claws, which doesn't phase Granola, but just as the Heater switches to another weapon, the Cerulean exploits the delay with a punch to the chest, hurtling him into a tree. The Saiyans figure out that Granola's winning due to their enemy not being accustomed to his full power yet, as he just became the strongest, while Gas desperately pulls out a scimitar, which the Cerulean weaves by flawlessly prior to a scrumptious kick upwards. Goku's confused why the Heater's dead set on making these weapons, so Minato clears up the confusion, explaining Gas has always been able to craft them without needing the wish. In the meantime, the Heater creates shurikens fitted for his wrists to slice the cereal bar into bits, but Granola reminds him what manga he's in, delivering a blow to his sternum. Gas did not get the memo because he proceeds to utilize a literal Zanpakuto out of sheer panic, and in that moment, Maki acknowledges that his brother is actively deciding not to use his newfound power with the desire to beat Granola with his own abilities. People beg for Moro and Ultra Ego Vegeta to be added to the games, but why does no one mention the Heater? He's got one of the most unique movesets out there. Anyway, just as the Cerulean's about to win, Gas protects himself with a ki-based force field and places his hand in front of Granola's face, blasting a vicious ki wave with immense pressure. This saddens the Heater, given he wanted to beat the Cerulean with his own technique, so Granola shoots some bullets to catch him mid-speech, but is countered by instant transmission for Gas to rupture the enemy's lungs, seasoning the meal with a sprinkle of Hakai. Ecstatic with the battle, Granola gets back up, removing his torn jacket, and this is when the two mightiest warriors now spam instant transmission until the heat death of the universe. Watching the pair use this move made me feel bad for Goku, cause he put in the blood, sweat and tears to master it on Yardrat just for them to teleport like it's nothing. However, if we look more closely, Granola actually grazes Vegeta's face with a kick mid-vanish, and Vegeta spots this too, speculating Gas's sloppiness of instant transmission results from his unfamiliarity with the move. Filled with frustration, Vegeta charges up, vowing to figure out teleportation, and tries his very best to land a hit on Granola, but ends up staying one step behind during this confrontation. The Cerulean selects a defensive approach because he wants the enemy to smash rocks into pebbles, which serve as fuel for the release of a tremendous Hakai. Unfortunately, the opening couldn't be exploited since Gas meets each blow with one of his own via instant transmission, currently with a greater understanding of the ability than ever before. Vegeta also sees this, annoyed the Cerulean wasted too much time, where Gas lands a clean uppercut, insistent he won't lose sight of him again. However, Granola plays the trap card Snap Crackle Divide, launching Vegeta away from close quarters, where the rest of the clones initiate a key bullet barrage to contain the threat. Gas then bulldozes for a couple to drop to the low ground, alerting the remaining clones to begin the jumping, but let's just say they were acting more like fish than a breakfast snack if anything, because Vegeta reeled them all in with ease to fire numerous lasers from his fingertips, defeating the clones. As it seems to appear fear Gas has won, it was in fact all a distraction for the real Granola, who teleports to a now defenseless Heater and shoots off a nasty beam to the gut in a lovely double spread which whizzes Gas through the landscape, dunking him into the local river. All damage inflicted on the clones during that last play is now felt by Granola, and on the other side of the map, Gas's siblings rescue him from the river where Alec rips off his head ornament, shocking the rest of the Heeters. He notes that Gas must liberate his inner nature to unseal the latent power from the strongest wish. However, Maki thinks it's a bad idea since their kind lose all sense of self once liberation has begun. Gas soars to the sky, becoming a mindless brute as if he took a Broly boost, and chooses Granola to be his first blood sacrifice, slamming him into the ground while also committing one of Minecraft's cardinal sins, digging straight down. The Naito remembers this was the form Gas had used as a last resort to defeat Bardock, but when Vegeta demands to know how the Saiyan beat him in that state, the Namekian says he's unsure since he was unconscious. Maki then runs over to his sibling, yelling at him to return to his senses, but Gas's blood continues to boil over, enabling friendly fire on his family. Alec affirms it's all according to plan, under the belief that the strongest in the universe has the greatest power control of them all, and from here I'm just distraught as Gas rushes for my glorious prince unprovoked, peppering him with numerous punches. Goku charges in to save Vegeta with a blow to the Heater's block, but upon seeing his face, Gas's PTSD is triggered from 40 years ago when he lost to Bardock in humiliating fashion. This causes the Heater to be sent flying in utter fear, growling at the thought of those memories, so Alec reminds him of the oath he made to never lose again. As a result, Gas returns to his senses, calling himself off from that rampage, and puts his clothes back on to finally awaken as the true strongest of Universe 7. Ultra Ego made its debut during Vegeta's battle against Granola, so please click here if you're interested.